Hey guys, it's Miss Lavin again. We're on part 3. We're almost done. We've got part 4 after this, and that's a quick one. So let's go ahead and get started with example 3. In example 3, we are comparing data displays. Follow along with me here. The data displays show how many push-ups students in a class completed for a physical fitness test. Which data display can you use to find how many students are in the class? Explain. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here. I've got a histogram, and I've got what is called a circle graph or a pie graph. You may know it a little bit more commonly as. We're getting pretty used to understanding histograms. Both of these graphs represent the same information, but we can't get some information from one that we can get from the other. But both of these graphs depict the data of the students that completed push-ups for their physical fitness test. So if we take a look at our histogram, we can see that it looks like 3 students, right in there, completed anywhere from 0 to 9 push-ups. Followed all the way down to 40 to 49 push-ups. It appears that only 1 student could do 40 to 49 push-ups. If we look at our pie chart, or our circle graph, we see how that our pie graph breaks the push-ups down into percentages. So if we start up here at this 12%, we see that 12% of the class could complete 0 to 9 push-ups, 20% of the class could complete 10 to 19, 40%, it's a little darker there, could complete 20 to 29 push-ups, and so on. Notice in this circle graph, if we were to add up all of these percentages, we would reach a total of 100% to represent 100% of the students in the class. Taking a look at our question again, which data display can you use to find how many students are in the class? Explain. Well, if I look at my pie chart over here and my histogram right here, I see that I can actually tell how many students fell in each one of our intervals or our buckets in my histogram. For example, 3 people were at our first bar, 5 people fell in the second bar, 10 people in the third bar, 6 people in the fourth, and 1 person in the fifth. I can count how many students were in the class. Can I do that with my pie chart? I can't see how many students fell into that 12%. Of course, with my histogram, I could always refer to that particular interval of 0 to 9, but without the histogram, and if I only had my pie chart, I wouldn't know the exact number of students that fell into that 12%. So to answer our question, let's go ahead and fill in our notes. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to write in red this time. My pen, okay. You can use the blank. We're going to fill in the histogram because it shows the number of students at each interval. The sum, remember that's adding, of these values represent the number of students in the class. Oh, it's not going to fit. There we go. You cannot use the circle graph. We got to make this squeeze in, which we also call a pie chart, because it does not show the number of students at each interval. So to repeat, you can use the histogram because it shows the number of students at each interval. Right there, so you can see the number of students. The sum of these values, this value plus this value, this, and this, represents the number of students in the class. You cannot use the circle graph or the pie chart because it does not show the number of students at each interval. Remember, instead it only shows us the percentage of students at each interval. All right, my dears, let's move on to example number 4, down at the bottom here. Making conclusions from data displays. Which statement cannot, let's underline that, well, that didn't work, cannot be made using the data displays, so both of these displays, in example 3. circle the correct answer. Okay, so remember, we're trying to find the statement that cannot be made. So which one of these is not true? Let's take a look first at part A. 12% of the class completed less than 10 push-ups. Okay, we're dealing with less than 10, so we can't go up to 10, anything under 10. Can we make this statement true by looking at either or both of these data displays? Let's take a look. Well, I know I'm dealing with percents over here in my circle graph. 12% of the class completed less than 10 push-ups. Well, there's my less than 10 interval, 0 to 9, and it looks like 12% of the class did, in fact, complete less than 10 push-ups. So I believe that that is a true statement. Let's go ahead and write true and cancel it out. We can eliminate that choice. Part B says 5 students completed at least 10 and at the most 19 push-ups. 5 students completed at least 10 and at the most 19 push-ups. All right, well, let's look up here. We're looking between 10 and 19, that interval. This tells me 20%. That doesn't tell me 5 students. So that one won't work. Let's look at our histogram because it says we can use either of the data displays. 5 students completed at least 10, at the most 19. Well, if I look at that interval there and go up, yep, that sounds like it's true. So let's write true next to part B and eliminate. Let's look at C. At least one student completed more than 39 push-ups. Well, I made it pretty clear that my circle graph is only dealing with percents, and part C tells me we're talking about one student, at least one student completed more than 39 push-ups. So this interval right here of 40 to 49 is my more than 39 range, and it does appear, in fact, that one student, so at least one student, did complete more than 39 push-ups. So that statement is true. I've eliminated 3 of them. It sounds like D is going to be the answer, but let's double check to make sure. 29% of the class completed 30 or more push-ups. Let's see here, 29%. All right, well, I'm dealing with percents, so I am certain that I want to look at my pie chart. If 29% of the class completed 30 or more push-ups, I'm going to look in my intervals of 30 to 39 and 40 to 49. Those are the 2 intervals I want to look at. In my 30 to 39 range, it looks like 24% of the class completed 30 to 39 push-ups. And then if I look in my 40 to 49 range, 4% of the class completed 40 to 49 push-ups. If I add 24 and 4%, I end up with 28%. But part D says 29% of the class completed 30 or more push-ups. I only have 28. So it looks like D is the way we're going to go. The correct answer here is D. That is the only statement that cannot be made using the data displays. All right, my dears, you are going to turn the page to part 3, page 2. You are still going to be referring to these 2 data displays, your histogram and your circle graph, in order to answer the last 2 on your own questions. You have numbers 3 and 4. Make sure that you also answer these questions on Schoology. You must get a 3 out of 3 on the quote-unquote quiz in order to get on to the next section. Part 4 is super quick. It requires you to make a submission and then move on to the final surprise at the end of Part 4. So make sure you get to that surprise. If you finish before class ends, please find something quiet to do. If you don't finish before class ends, this does become homework. It's not going to be due until Tuesday, though. We're going to have homework on Monday night, so make sure that you get as much done as possible so that you don't overload your Monday night. But this won't be due until Tuesday, just in case there's any glitches or questions about any of the parts 1 through 4 today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but happy Friday to you all, and I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. Have a great day, guys. I'll see ya.